Hello, welcome there YouTube, and hello, welcome there Twitch. Hello folks. Oh, wait a second, I gotta turn the YouTube into 3D, full color 3D, and Twitch in red and cyan 3D. Mine provides red and cyan, but still, red. Okay. As you see, I got my Virtual Boy up. The left eye is black and red. The right eye is red, well, black and cyan. Waiting a few minutes to get some people here while I enjoy a Pepsi Max. Oh, by the way, we just got on. Let's see what our stats say. What does the stats say? No one yet, but we're only a minute young in this broadcast. Okay, we're only a minute young, but we're doing well. Okay, I want to give you an ergonomics lesson from an everyday man. I have no authority. I have no teaching. The only authority I have is I witnessed and I helped. I'm just an everyman who noticed an ergonomic miracle in like 1994, the winter of 1994, or fall. Alright. You guys see this? See this? See this? This was probably the first joystick I could have had when I was a kid. I was too young for the Pong clones, but this is an Atari 2600. Okay. The problem with this is, if you put it on the table, you can't enjoy it very well like this. See, if you're trying to, it might moves very violently. You have to steady the joystick. So you put it in your hand, put your left hand here, and do this. Now, what some clever companies realized was, you could just as easily do this. It'd be awkward for me, but for some people it would not be. Apparently a lot of people this would not be awkward for. And it was simple as making a pin swap adapter. You just map north to E, north to west. You define west as north, define north is east, define east is south, and define south is west. Fire button is the same no matter where you go. And that was like in the 70s. Atari kind of predicted you want to play the joystick with your right hand. And since 90% of people were right-handed, that made sense. And then in the 80s, we got the beginning of the age of ambidexterity. Bally Midway, who is the the American licensed arcade owner of Pac-Man, Galaxian, and other Namco games, as well as Tato games. Bally was kind of innovative. Okay, let me show you what they have here that was innovative. Real original Bally Astrocade control. Do I have it here somewhere? Bally Astrocade control. I think I keep it somewhere. Let's see. Bally Astrocade. Where's Bally Astrocade? Do I have a Bally? I know I have a Bally Astrocade control. I just don't know where it is. Oh, they're in the box. What a better place to put them than right in the Bally Astrocade box. This was Bally's innovative design for gunfight. It was a pistol handle. Now, it's not very ergonomic, but it's innovative in one way. You could turn with the paddle, go north, south, west, and east. and fire all at the same time. And best of all, you could swap hands and do it too. And this was probably the first controller with a vertical layout pioneered by Bally. In the arcade, it was probably known as the Midway Mirror, and they were trying to accommodate American players by having a joystick, a joystick and button combination that was ambidextrous. That was like their great innovation. And then, now if you notice, if you look up the specific Japanese version of Pac-Man, if this were the width of the arcade, the joystick would be here. So therefore, if you're playing right-handed, you're kind of looking in on it, and it's not good view. They kind of force you to play left-handed. That was like the Japanese way. I don't understand why. They think the left-handed is superior, but in America, the Midway version of Pac-Man, when they put you on this thing, the joystick was smack dab in the middle, so you could do it this way, or you could do it this way. And that was the American way. And then there were other companies that innovated, like not this drawer. They innovated the wrong way, but let's see. Mattel, makers of the Intellivision. They thought the future was more buttons. Now notice this joystick is also ambidextrous. It has a weird way to hold it. You kind of have to hold it with, like, two of these buttons are mirrored. I think it's the bottom two. I don't know if it's the top two or the bottom two. But the bottom two are mirrored, so you have to hold it like this and kind of like hit the pad with your finger. First of all, in arcade games, that's not very easy to do. There's no defined corners. That's where Nintendo innovated. But the purpose of this original controller was so that you could play joystick games like this, as well as paddle games where you rotate on the thing. That's why that was the main purpose of this controller, to do both joystick and paddle games. There were a bunch of buttons for more complex games, and as I said, you could play it opposite-handed or left-handed. ColecoVision had two designs that were ambidextrous. Okay, I don't think I need to show them all, okay? But, and this, minus all buttons, was a typical arcade layout. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. That's my innovation. But basically, when you had buttons, what they did was they put the joystick smack in the middle, and one button on either side, so you could play like this, beep, 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 or like this, beep, 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 beep. And that's how most Americans' arcades were. Even if they weren't that way at the OEM level, arcade owners were willing to mod their games to get those lefty quarters. Meanwhile, in Japan, Nintendo was off doing their own thing, preparing for the Famicom after doing this with the Game & Watch. Now, I think this is deliberate. Okay. Because, let's see. We got one person watching. Yay. If you want me to go to the game, say go to the game. But if I'm interested talking about this, let me know. But if you want me to go to the game, say get to the game already. Just type it in the Marge, and Marge will tell me to get to the game already. Now, this design could have easily have been ambidextrous. How? Like that. That's how it could have been ambidextrous very easily. The cord would be kind of in the front, but I'll get to the code pin language later. But the Atari crash happened, and Nintendo picked up the pieces. And Sega was kind of the company left in limbo because they were American before the crash and Japanese after the crash. Yes, they had enough American ownership where they were considered a Gulf and Western company, just like Paramount. And all the games they made were ambidextrous up to that point. Buttons on either side, joystick in the center, because joysticks were more expensive than buttons. And the SG-1000 controller was evidence of that. They had a similar style of control to what American company Atari tried to come back with. If I can find it. Here we go. The Atari 7800 Pro line, or as people would say, Pain line. You can play like this, or you can play like this. And on their commercials, they show people playing both ways, because they wanted to emphasize this was an ambidextrous joystick, unlike Nintendo, which made you play left-handed, which for 90% of people was awkward. Oh, I just got used to it, I guess. I mean, that's why no one complains about it anymore, but Sega was kind of like in the middle, because the Americans wanted the ambidextrous design, or right-handed design, for their Master System joystick, but the Japanese wanted the left-handed design. So they split the difference. The pad in America was left-handed movement, but the joystick itself was right-handed movement. Now here's a problem when you have more than one action button. Let's say there's only one action button. Let's say you have a main button that fires a lot and a secondary button that jumps. It's going to be ergonomically different on these vertical layouts if whether your left button or your right button is the fire button, the one you're going to be doing more. If you're firing mostly with the right or left. I don't know what's easier to do, trigger finger or thumb with the right or left. But notice whatever your index finger is doing when you're right-handed is what your thumb is doing when you're left-handed, and vice versa with the hands. So therefore there was some asymmetry in mapping as far as vertical layouts were concerned. Then Nintendo just started dominating, and the arcade companies, who collectively formed a cartel with the American machine owners, the video game machine owners, because remember, he who has the gold makes the rules, and the primary consumer of the average video game company was not the average quarter plunker. It was a person who bought the machines, who put them in an arcade to put in front of us quarter plunkers. We were not the primary customer of Nintendo, Taito, Konami, any of those guys. We were the secondary customer, the consumer. But at home, we were the primary customer. By the way, if you want me to say go on with it, get on with the game, get on with the game. Pinouts. Atari and Sega believed in simple, easy, remappable pinouts. You could buy a simple pin adapter for this, and you could swap left and right buttons on a Pro line. Or you could, if this were a Sega or Atari controller, you could pin remap it so it's backwards. But Nintendo had an innovative language that disguised that and kind of forced left-handedness, because they didn't want people making cheap lefty adapters, or righty adapters, they'd be called in the US. So what they did was they have some sort of secret language in their thing where in only 5 holes they transmit 5 signals and somehow get 4 buttons and 4 directions out of it. Master System was uncoded. 7800 was uncoded, but did have the button code, so that 7800 games were 2 button and 2600 games were 1 button. But the joystick itself was uncoded. Then we got to 16-bit, and kind of like Sega was in a crisis where they failed in America, they failed in Japan. Best places they succeeded: Brazil and Europe. And Sega of America was taken aggressively. And they started the Genesis, does what Nintendo don't, and then Sonic the Hedgehog, and you know what happened with Sega after that. As far as the joystick was concerned, they built it off the combined Master System code and 2600 code, so that your Genesis would work as a 2600 controller or Master System controller in most cases. But then they started to use coding because there wasn't enough pins on a 9-pin to deal with 4 buttons and 4 joysticks and make it compatible with everything. And then we got into these ridiculous codes where you could not easily swap between one or another. That's another reason why they made the codes. So you can't swap other joysticks for your joystick, and so you can't modify the controls. I believe that was deliberate on the part of Nintendo. One reason is they wanted to control what you were doing, and the other was they didn't want and probably the personal reason, American arcade owners wanted to shorten the credit length at the arcade. And one way to do that was give you intentionally backwards controls. Think about it. The age of ambidexterity ended when Atari left the picture. Now, Atari had Gauntlet, which was right-handed in the arcade. Sega had a vertical layout where 2 buttons were here and your joystick was here, so you could do this or this. And it was always the index finger was fire in Duke Quartet, and the middle finger button was the secondary button. So, and then there was a company known as Bishu who tried to give the American market the ambidextrous joystick they were looking for. First they had the Jazz, which was right-handed. Then it failed Nintendo's quality because it didn't allow for left-handed play. So they submitted an ambidextrous version, the Ultimate Super Stick for Nintendo. That failed licensing because you could play right-handed. That's the first time that offering more features actually fails quality check. And it does a perfectly good job as a left-handed joystick. But, so they did 2 things. One, they took it up to the FTC in America because they thought they're innovating and Nintendo's stifling innovation with their monopoly. You know, Nintendo's preventing a right-handed joystick from coming out on the market. And that was so anti-consumer. And they did the other thing, partner with TurboGrafx and Sega, and they worked out a way to have their joysticks on their systems authorized by those companies. Though Sega of America and Bishu did have an FTC lawsuit too. The reason why that was, only thing official says terms were undisclosed and they mutually agreed. Which means that most likely, I mean, this is a hunch, I don't know how true this hunch is, but that Sega of Japan wanted to impose the left-handed joystick. Sega of America wanted to license the Gizmo, the 3-button version of the Ultimate Super Stick, but Sega of Japan would not listen to Sega of America. They'd rather listen to the American government say, you know, you're denying Bishu the ability to make ambidextrous joysticks. It was a kayfabe lawsuit because Sega of America would rather listen. Sega of Japan would rather listen to American regulators than Sega of America folks at that time. So that's why every joystick after that one has been, you know, They were trying to slip into Japanese culture. Master System, they were dead last. Atari didn't even compete. America, Sega Master System, dead last. Locally, America 7800 beat them. Worldwide, Master System won, but that's because there was the Japanese one-way wall, cultural wall. Export everything, import nothing. That's, and then you got, okay. I think I should get on with the game now. I've been on for like 20 minutes. Exactly. Let's play. Automatic pause. Off. I'll finish the story when I'm done with the games. You see that picture? On the video game? My main point was that ergonomics, one thing the pad did was free you from the ergonomics of the Intellivision, ColecoVision type of stuff. Because trust me, the good news was these were ambidextrous controllers. The bad news was if you got good enough, you were going to learn to be ambidextrous whether you wanted to or not. That's the joke. But seriously, folks, turn down the sound. But seriously, they made the ergonomic pad the go-to standard. Now, of course, the fight stick was the ergonomics, the premium standard. You have a tabletop, or you put it on the floor. You put it on the floor, put it on the tabletop. That was like the premium standard for joystick, and the pad was just a cheap way of getting by. Because GameStop and all of those retailers were selling joysticks well into the PlayStation, well into the Dreamcast era. It's just that when the PlayStation 2 came out, they added an analog stick, and having both a digital and an analog stick was kind of clumsy on an arcade stick, so no one successfully made a combo. Stick that was analog and digital. They have digital map to analog, analog map to digital, but no pure analog. Oh, by the way, if you want to watch this game in progress, or you want to see me in my room, get a pair of these, or ones that have arms on them, and just put in front of your face. Roads, where we're going, we don't need roads. And this thing pops out like crazy. This is a game where you have to accurately judge 3D space. If you ever played this in 2D, you know your spacing is kind of off. But if you got it in 3D, you could tell where you're aiming better. That's why I'm picking this game for today. To show that you need 3D for this to work. But I get a neck ache if I have to scrunch inside a visor goggle. And not only that, the way Nintendo wants you to start is wear something like this. This is a cheap generic VR helmet that's designed for the Switch, but it's not official for the Switch. But I just got this like at $1, like a couple dollars. But I tried it once. I hated the experience of Nintendo VR. You gotta put the Switch in here, close it up, and you take off Pepsi hat, put on the VR helmet. Meanwhile, your arms are chicken winged, like right. Take off the glasses. Your arms are chicken winged, right up here. You heard that the full Nelson is a painful move? Well, you have to voluntarily do that while you're playing Nintendo Switch. I don't think I can keep this up for 1 minute, let alone 30 minutes. So the physical form Nintendo's asking you to take while playing Nintendo Switch on Virtual Boy on 3DS is ridiculous. You get a sore neck, sore shoulder. I mean, it's anti-ergonomic. if the old second generation controllers were unergonomic, just not ergonomic but had their heart in the right place for ambidexterity, this is anti-ergonomic. This is almost like a torture chamber. But yes, there's two reasons why you need to be able to wear these. Because depth matters in this, and being comfortable matters. That's how Nintendo won the third generation. By totally disregarding American second generation controls and just going their own way. And now I can't find anyone who makes an ambidextrous choices. Except me, really. Okay, let's go play the game. Enough you get. Start out. What level can I start? You can start at any level you want. There's like 99 levels. Oh, you're all to 40. 40 levels. Okay, let's see how far we can go. Too high. Yeah, you should. Why didn't make the buttons backwards? Why is the A button jump? Yeah, well, this is... And they give you different names. Spinies! Jump! Crisscross! I get the wrong button blues. That's the problem, maybe. Okay. The guy gets good at this. But yeah, you can see how depth is important. Now, as an experiment, let's take out one of the two eyes. Let's take out one of the two eyes. You want to take out the left eye or the right eye? Let's take out the right eye. Because that's cyan and we want to play Virtual Boy red. There's a reason why we played red and cyan and not red. Alright, now I'm going to make the same attempts on the throw, but in 2D. You gotta keep in mind that this is the left eye, so you're slightly off. See, you can't line it up perfectly right. we go. Try lining up. Ah, miss. Dang it. Damn it. If you try playing this in 2D, this is like... And also they changed the language. Now turtles you can bop. In the original Mario Bros., turtles were dead if you bopped them. So that's why they changed them to the spinies. Which way is he gonna go? Which way does he go? I missed! Got him. Oh, you kick him too. You have to throw it. It's my hands in you. My hands are in you. My hands are in you, I think. Jump. Crisscross to make you. Did I get it right the first turn? Oh, this is gonna be impossible. Bonus change. Yup. Okay, gotta use a shadow. Gotta use a shadow because you're playing 2D. That's the only way I can seem to do that. Go ahead, kid. To get in him. Ah. Zuffler. We got fireball. Oh no, can't do that. You gotta study geography. You're gonna be on the back, I'm gonna be on the front. here. Goombas. You can't tell what's part of the background, what's part of the foreground. Now this is where the optical illusion. You can see the horns. I guess flying Goombas are now fighter flies. That's where you get the problem when you get into that level after the first bonus. Now I'm going to tackle it the way it should be tackled. In 3D. Alright, let's see. 3D. Turn on the cyan eye. It's not a Hawaiian eye, it's cyan eye. And don't drink cyanide. Okay. Oh no. Wait, we gotta get this end. We gotta find the. Here we go. This is how we do it. Okay, let me put the Pepsi out of the way. Good call. Don't want to spill Pepsi on this. That would be a big mistake. Okay, we'll get the cyan eye, and we're back in business in 3D. Okay. After I gave me the other, now I'm gonna get into red and cyan. Wrong button. How do you dodge that? Get the buttons mixed up. I don't know whether you want shoot as your main button or jump as your main button. Where's you gonna go? Alright. Big bucks. Where you go, George? He's going to the left. Down. Jump. Level 4. around the rosy. And technical modes. Things are technical. Bush. Okay, now I get to see this in 3D. See if I can do this right. Today. Now it gets confusing. Here. So close. Getting confused. I'd rather. Okay. It looks great in 3D. Let's see, we have one person watching, I think. You can be as anonymous or as known as you want to be.
Rick 92 said cheap followers on streamboo.com. Remove the space. Add KP2Xi2BW.
Okay, well. Bonus shit. High. Low. Low here. Here. How many did I get? I got the best so far, 3D. 12 of them. Where do I go, George? Where go up? Gotta analyze the... Goombas. I can bop him. Here. Where's Luigi? I went to Luigi! Alright, how long have I been playing? 47 minutes? Alright, cheap followers. Let's go to level 6. Route. Yeah, just on the edge. Little edge. You only get the time bonus if you can do it without losing a life. Should have done that. Press stop. Thanks for playing. Oh, I gotta get my Mario cap, my crappy cap. Where's Cappy? Cappy cap. Not my crappy cap, my Cappy cap. Okay, can't find Cappy cap. If I Pepsi cap, I can't find Cappy. Well, I'm not balding, so I don't need to wear my Pepsi cap. And Pepsi doesn't pay me for this. Well, actually, they did. They helped me lose 30 kilograms and more. It's my 30th kilogram anniversary a couple years ago. Alright, so... my 20th anniversary, my 30th kilogram. Go like this. Where did Cappy go? Cappy! Cappy! I can't find Cappy! Okay, well we have one person who wants me to buy cheap viewers. To which I say, no way! Better have an organic following than a bunch of paying for your followers. Back. Totally wrong neighborhood. Ah, he jumped! No, just push! Take it behind. There we go, got one of them. I missed. Take it. That was a tough one. Ice. It's slip ice. No ping pong! I did a ping pong accident because that got me tricked the ball. Slip ice. Level 9. What are these things? Oh, they throw projectiles. Okay, guys. Oh, I see the monkeys. The balls are Congo Bongo. I guess since Sega borrowed Bongo from Congo Bongo, like copying Donkey Kong, they're doing the same thing back. Alright, we're getting more and more interesting enemies. Alright, so it's currently 11 o'clock, almost. Trust me, you do not want to be playing like this in a hat and a full Nelson while you're playing the Switch just to play the Virtual Boy. should be like this, either red and cyan, so you can do this, or if you have a 3D TV from the 2010s, turn your TV into side-by-side half mode. Let's see if I can do that. Yeah, that's what it would be in side-by-side half mode, but... or top and bottom mode. And back to normal mode. And the thing is, I'm adding it onto this low ping monitor. How? Something called the 3D Fury, which is one half the invention for the 3D comeback to start coming back. This device makes sure you don't have to hook, you don't have to be reliant, halfway doesn't let you have to be reliant on 3D TVs. You can take any TV you want. Well, that was the original idea. Take any TV you want and just add 3D. But there's one problem with it. Ping. Even something as low ping as this won't sync correctly with glasses. Tomorrow I'm going to a makerspace to lab test the ping, see how much ping time there actually is, and see, more importantly, if we can compensate for it on a video game. If we can do that, then the 3D revolution will start. And I got the perfect content that'll launch it. You know how Holy Moly Season 3 jokingly called itself in 3D? Well, seriously. That would be the perfect... Since I did a miniature golf tournament in the 90s, and it was arguably I inspired them, they inspired me to make 2D compatible 3D, a venue to carry this, and I got a technology for that too. Just overt covert eye. One eye is good, which is what you watch normally on 2D TV, and then the second eye is encoded so that it's 2D compatible, but 3D if you got the equipment. I'm a man of many talents. Not very big talents, but wide. Alright. Okay, thank you, Mr. Avowed Statement. Astounding at Socks Right Kiki. Okay, I don't know how you pronounce that, but however you pronounce that, I doubt you'll be back for more. And I'm not even actively kicking out people who do that yet. So, you're lucky I didn't start enforcing that rule, so, you can try again later maybe, but you never know, so... Gotta have myself some ice cream, ice cream, ice cream. Credit card, credit card, credit card. Spamming projectiles already. You know, like Howard Dean. And then we're going to Michigan, and then to Texas. And then we go back to Washington State, State by the West. Yeah! With a dragon punch. Yeah, exactly. That's probably how the movement got started. Someone thought Howard Dean would be funny as Ryu. And so, I don't know, I mean, with that speech. It was around 2004 when that came out. So, maybe that was the inspiration for Mugen. Putting Howard Dean as Ryu. I don't know, but... Well, if it wasn't, it should have been. Sure. But, yes. So, I guess I'm gonna leave you guys. Okay, see you later, Hector. It's a me, Triple Top. And I don't have one for that one yet. I should get one for that. I don't know what I'm going to get. I have Hubert, probably. And just remember, I think the third Thursday is over. And just remember, when you come back, or if you never come back at all, just if you take away one thing from this, take away this. There are two things which everyone is. One, part of the world's largest majority, the human family. Everyone is a member. Everyone is related to everyone if you want to dig deep enough. Two, everyone is part of the world's smallest minority, the individual that is one particular individual. And each individual is unique and different, but they all have things which they all are the same. Just treat yourself and everyone else as both an individual and as a member of the human family, and most things will work out for themselves well. Which, it seems like America's gone too much in the me family and not in the we family with the current administration. It's like, the problem with that is if you give too much me, eventually you're going to weed down me to the point where you're not going to be a me and you're going to be a them. So I'm just saying, it's the opening salvo. If they were hyper targeting the true criminals, the ones that do more than just jaywalk over the border, and deal with it with the appropriate punishment, that'd be good. But when they run out of those people, or they sweep basically people with just a jaywalking ticket along the way, that's bad. So, yeah, gotta keep it in balance. Good night, Twitch. Good night, YouTube.